Hey, and welcome back. So this is the second part of our infancy unit in Psych 230. We're going to start with language development and then move into socio-emotional development. So for language development, infants hear these phonemes, so they can practice and distinguish all phonemes. So we all hear phonemes. They're like fa, la, ta, so, ro, whatever. These small, unique sounds, we all hear them, but infants can hear a large variety that we can't hear from different languages. They can distinguish between these phonemes that we lose. Eventually, they will lose this ability. So if we don't speak a language to them, they don't need to understand or remember those phonemes, and so they will prune those away. We talked about that with the brain, that we'll just prune away what we don't use. This video is pretty interesting there, but it's this idea that, babies, we really can see them distinguish and practice and understand all phonemes, that they eventually narrow it down, just keep the ones from their own language. An important thing about babies is that we need to talk to them. They love being talked to. They develop language through this language-rich environment of speaking to them. A lot of what babies will really enjoy hearing is mother-ese or parent-ese. So sometimes people will think this is like, oh, little bit, oh, la, 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 la. That's not helpful to the baby. It is instead a more slow, exaggerated change in speech and volume, but including real words. So like, oh, mama's baby is so cute. So cute, but you're using real words and it's real grammar. You're just stretching it out, exaggerating it. That's really helpful for babies. The like, oh, no, no, blah, blah, blah. That's not really helpful. I still do it sometimes because they're adorable and it's hard not to just blah at them. But, real words help. So our steps to speech. Initially, when we have an infant, they will just vocalize by crying. So that's the only thing that they have at their disposal to get your attention. So they're going to cry because they need stuff. They have needs. They're people, but they can't talk. Around 2 to 4 months, we'll get cooing. And then 6 months, we'll get more of a babbling. So the cooing is just like, a lot of vowel sounds. With consonants and stuff, we get more of the babbling, like ma, 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 da, 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 da. We start using a lot more gestures, so pointing at things, waving. Around a year, we get our first words. Again, there's a lot of individual difference when we're talking about human development, so some people will speak earlier, some later. Around 18 months, we start getting 2-word utterances, so things like no dog, or mommy come, or happy baby, or whatever it is. My son is almost 18 months now. He says moo cow, so that's a 2-word utterance. Around 2 years old, we've got a vocabulary of a few hundred words. So what an explosion that is. Like, oh my goodness. And then 6 years, around 10,000 words. This does not mean at all that we're perfect with this. Sometimes babies will underextend, so they'll use a word or not enough. Other times they'll overextend a word. So my sister underextended the word baby. She had one doll and that doll was baby, and she wouldn't use the word baby for anything else, like not people, not other baby dolls, nothing. That was baby and nothing else was baby. And so she was really underusing that word. The overextension, we use it for just too much. And so sometimes a baby will say everything's a dog. So everything on 4 legs is a dog. So a cow's a dog, a goat's a dog, cat's a dog. Everything is just dog. That's overextending the word dog. So there are some differences, or there are some errors in our speech. We're learning a huge task there, learning a new language. If you've tried to learn a new language as an older person, this is hard. If you've done this in like middle, high school, college, whatever it is, it's difficult. It's not easy. So these babies, the fact that they're able to pull this out and to really learn so many words in such a short amount of time is amazing. There are a lot of individual differences though. So at 18 months, we can have a vocabulary of a few words to even a couple hundred words. Generally speaking, so this is not, all the time, but we generally see babies speak more when they're exposed to a language-rich environment. So this work is a little bit more on the controversial side. All of this work really is because it's hard to get babies and families and really understand them and get huge cultural groups and samples that are appropriate for our society. And it's such a real challenge. But at least in this work, this is from 95, but there's been other work to suggest this as well, is that there's just this word gap between people who have the least amount of resources in our society and those who have the most resources. And it largely is because of how much time they get to just talk to these kids and how many words they hear in the house. So one big thing parents can do is just speak to the kids, name objects, use grammar. You don't have to buy anything fancy. You just point at stuff and be like, shoe, dog, waffles, just whatever it is, especially when the child is paying attention and you get that serve in return. So moving out of language into a little bit of our socio-emotional development. Emotions are huge. We need these. It's communication. If you walk in a room and someone's crying, that's an immediate communication that you'll attend to. We get our primary emotions around 6 months. So those are just these like really basic things like happy, sad, angry, just kind of the most basic expressions of emotions. And those really complex ones come on later. So understanding that you've actually like embarrassed yourself, this is a huge thing to understand, or feeling guilt knowing that you've, violated someone else's expectations. This takes much longer. So more into that second year of life. I talked about crying as communication. It really is. Babies will cry a lot. Some babies will cry 2 to 3 hours a day. There's different cries. So if you've hung out with an infant at all, you'll start to realize there's different cries. The basic cry is just kind of, on average for many reasons. The mad cry is you've maybe taken something from the baby. If you take my kids Play-Doh, you get the mad cry. The pain cry, you'll see that sometimes if they fall off of something, and that one I hate. It's like, ah, they like hold their breath, and then, again, I hate it. Oh, and you're like, oh, baby, it's awful. And it's supposed to be grating though. That's important. It's supposed to be grating because it gets you to go to them and to try to help fix whatever the problem is. And oftentimes it's communication too. Parents will be really good at this. So if you hang out with the kid a lot, you'll be like, oh, they're fine. They just, probably dropped something, or you'll know, and you'll just get up and run like, oh my gosh, that cry. You just know the difference in these kids cry. It is communication. And that's all they really can do, is cry. So that's why they do that. It's important, has a function really. Using our emotions, social referencing, so something we see in our little guys. So they will look to see what other people are doing. We do this as adults too. We see, other people scared by that noise or not, or other people happy when they see that clown or not. Infants will do this too. They'll look around and see what you're doing and see how they want to react. They can also regulate their emotions. So if you brought this over to an infant, this little scary doll, they don't have a lot of capability. They can't run away from the doll. They can't say, oh my gosh, get that out of my face. But they can cry just to get someone to help them. They can turn away. So a lot of times if an infant is getting distressed, if if it's too much, they'll turn away and try to, avoid looking at the situation. So they do try to regulate their emotions. One concept in developmental psychology is this idea of temperament. So are all babies the same? Do they have the same behaviors? Before I had a lot of experience with babies, I would have said, yes, they just come out of the womb and they're little lumps, and then they just, it's however you treat them, that's how they are. But we really find that in developmental psychology, that's not necessarily true. So how you treat them is important, but they also are their own little people from the day you meet them. So they have consistent styles or patterns. Sometimes we even see these patterns persist into adulthood. The classic types were easy, difficult, and slow to warm babies. Easy babies, they really don't care what you do. Bring them to the beach, bring them to the pool, bring them to, out in the snow. They're like, sweet. Difficult babies are mad. You look at them wrong, they're pissed. They just, very difficult, challenging little guys. And then slow to warm, you got to give them some time and they'll get there. Some further research has kind of shown that there's some dimensions there. So happy, active, vocal babies are high in surgency or extroversion. Angry, fearful, or shy babies are high in negative affect. And then those who can really focus attention, inhibit impulses, these babies are good at effortful control. So that's one where my boys struggle. They cannot inhibit an impulse. If they want to do something and you like, don't do it. My little guy will even sound like, no, while he's doing something wrong. So he knows he's not necessarily supposed to do that. He just can't stop himself. And so babies will differ in these ways. And we think it is somewhat stable. One reason it's stable, though, is because of how we interact with these babies. So if you brought Gerald home from the hospital, this is your kid, and this is what you see all day from Gerald, you'd probably sing to him, read to him, talk to him. He looks like he's really interested. If you brought home Christoph instead, this baby looks like he wants to play, like build a tent, knock over some blocks, try to make funny faces at him. If this was your baby though, Nick, and this is what you saw all day, even though you're trying your hardest, all you'd pretty much do is try to get him to calm down, like whatever you can do. Maybe just hold him and rock him. Just ask your mom to come help you. I don't even know. You just try your best, like, oh my goodness. And so we can see that parents behave in ways that strengthen temperament. So, oh, this baby's really upset or they're really excited. I'm going to behave in a way that strengthens that. But we also try and help our kids get away from their temperament a bit. So I know my boys really struggle with inhibiting impulses. I don't just tell them like, well, great, never try. Instead, I attempt to be like, okay, let's wait a little bit, and try to be almost this water to their fire. And we call that goodness of fit. So sometimes parents can really struggle when I know for me and my daughter, we're both really high on negative affect. So if I see a commercial, I will just like a sad one or something, I will just cry. And she's the same way. And so we have a hard time because then we'll work each other up. I'm like, did you see the commercial with the dog? And it was, and she's like, oh my God, the dog. And then we're like, oh, the dog. Like we just, whoa, and so that's because we're both a little flames in this situation. And so the ideal would be, the kids struggling and the parents kind of that nurturing water and helps them get away from it. That's the goodness of fit idea. Self-concept and social orientation. So there's some other theories and ideas. So a lot of this in our class is going to have to just, kind of moves between theories and studies and ideas because we have a whole lifespan to cover in just 16 weeks. And so it kind of jumps a little bit. And so we'll see that here. This is our self-concept. One way we can see if babies know who they are, we can paint their face a little bit and put them in front of a mirror. And then we see what part do they touch. Do they touch their own face or do they touch the mirror? If you touch your own face, then we think that's your own head. You can recognize yourself. Like, this is me in the mirror. If you touch the mirror, then it's like, who's that? That's actually my oldest son there, dressed as Batman. And I'd say, like, look, you're Batman. He goes, I'm not Batman. I'm Lex. And that's his name, Lex. So he, knew who he was at that point. He did not appreciate being someone else. This still face paradigm, I would definitely suggest you watch that one. So with the still face paradigm, this is research where parents are just pretty much, they just come in front of their baby and they keep still face. They just look like that. No emotions, no talking, just staring. Babies hate this. They hate it. It is a danger signal to them. They think something's wrong, that serve and return has broken, and it will immediately stress them out. So, this also can help us understand things like neglect in a parent-child relationship, or a parent who's really depressed and who's not giving a lot of serve and return to their infant. But this is one that's really hard to do with your own kid. I struggle so much to still face, and babies hate it. They just straight up hate it. They expect a lot from us. They expect that serve and return. Another major theorist that we'll talk about in social emotional development is Erik Erikson. And so with this, he is also someone who goes through ages and stages. And so we get to it as we get to it kind of thing. So with this one, we're going to talk about his first two stages, trust and mistrust, and autonomy and shame. So with trust and mistrust, with each of Erikson's stages, you have like a versus. So you have two different things that are opposite each other, and you want to get a balance between the things. So with trust and mistrust, we want to learn some people are worthy of trust and good. Some people, though, we need to mistrust. Not everyone is good. Not everyone is someone that we should, hang out with. And so if we can get a balance there, if we can learn to trust and mistrust, then we can get hope. So that's why I do this smiling at babies at supermarket. I want to tell them the world's a good place and you can trust most of us. And so I'm trying to help them out with that Erikson stage. You can trust most people. Just like this next stage, this is our little bit older children. Autonomy is being able to do things for oneself, and then shame and doubt. So we need to be able to learn things like we can use the toilet. We're capable, we can do that, we can act intentionally, but also then some shame and doubt. So we don't necessarily want to use the toilet on the rug in front of grandma. That might be an act we want to do behind a closed door. Or if we do something and we act intentionally really, really loud and with this drum, then we hurt our dad's ears because he has a migraine, then we want to feel a little bit of shame about that. Like we've violated someone else's physical space. And so, we learn to kind of balance these things and to achieve both. So our last real topic for this, I know it's a big, big unit. It really is big unit. But our last real topic for this is this idea of attachment. If you Google attachment and developmental psychology, you are going to get just tons of articles. It's a huge, well-researched area. And really what this suggests is there's a close emotional bond. We form this from birth with someone who is our attachment caregiver. And it's this enduring relationship. And it's critical to this idea that we can trust the world. And really it promotes survival. We need somebody who cares about us and who's going to form a relationship with us to keep us alive. Human infants are pretty much useless in terms of survival. They rely on a close attachment figure. So we know that parents or children rely on that adult. They need that adult to keep them close, to take care of them. But not all adults and children have a great relationship. There are parents who maybe don't form the best bond with their baby. So if we want to look at this way, or if, we want to devise a way of doing research to really understand that bond between parent and child, one way that we've done this is the strange situation. So this is an average kind of strange situation. The parent and kid, you'll bring them into the research lab. The child will look around, they'll hang out, and then generally the parent leaves. So those are the biggest important phases. This one, we've got a stranger entering, and the stranger might hang out. That could happen. There's different variations. Like I said, attachment theory is a huge theory. So there's different variations. But the most important thing is the child and mom are together in a situation. Mom leaves. We see what the child does when mom leaves. Then we see what the child does when mom returns. So we want to look at the child's reaction. Most babies, when you do this, is going to fall into this attachment type 1, which is secure attachment. There are 4 types we'll talk about, but most babies are going to be, they may cry when mom leaves, it might be upsetting to them, that's okay. But generally when mom comes back, the child is soothed. They're like, all right, world is good again. Typically we say mom here because the research has been done mostly with mothers, but also just because we don't have a lot of data on other caregivers. And so, yeah, really the research has been mostly done with mothers. But that does not mean that that's the only primary relationship. So many children will have a strong attachment relationship with many different people in their lives, like their siblings, their father, their aunt, their grandma. It could be anybody, as long as it's a nurturing, stable person, or just someone who makes sure that they stay alive, someone who's there for that protection and keeping them going. Not everyone will be secure though. So secure is the ideal. We want to be secure. We might be upset when they leave, but hey, they came back, we're good. Instead, we might see some interesting different patterns. This is about 20% of kids are avoidant or dismissing. So they don't look to be upset when the mom returns, but then when the mom gets back, they kind of ignore the mom. And so it almost seems like they're stoic little guys. They're not upset when she's gone. They're not upset when she comes back. But the problem is, it seems like, oh, okay, great. They're just really unaffected. But if we look at their physiology, their actual body, they are upset. So they're like, oh, they're maybe sweating. Their heart rate's beating fast. They are upset, but they don't show it. And we've also got these resistant guys. So as soon as mom is gone, they're really upset. And then when mom gets back, they just will not calm down. So they are still really, really upset. They are just infuriated by the whole situation. And then our disorganized, fearful kids, these kids can show all kinds of different reactions. So they're not really sure what to do. They may be confused. When mom gets back, they may approach her, then lay down and cry and run away and then come back. Generally, we think these types develop because of mom and baby's interactions. And so if the baby has learned, mom comes back, the world is good, secure baby. If the baby has learned, if I'm really upset and emotional, mom ignores me or won't come around me, then we can see an avoidant baby. If the baby learns that I have to show my emotions really strongly and freak out for mom to pay attention, then we can see that resistant baby. And then disorganized, fearful babies, we don't see these as often, but this can even be indicative of something like abuse. Like, I need my mom, but then she hits me, so I don't really want to go to her, but then I need to, but then she's going to slap me. And so they really don't know what to do. They're just confused. And it doesn't necessarily mean 100% that that's abusive situation, but it could be something like they don't get spend a lot of time with the parent. They're really confused by the parent's super unorganized. They don't know what the hell's going on. Excuse me. They don't know what's going on. Pardon the curse word, but that's what the baby, they really just don't know what's going on. They don't get it. So determinants of quality then, we do think it's this predictable attachment or secure attachment through predictable, sensitive parenting. So the parent is someone who is there, who is helping the baby develop a positive internal working model. So it's the model of self. We've got, this is what we eventually hope to develop there. So we would think about ourselves as positive, and we would think about others as positive. So the secure baby thinks, I'm good, you're good too. The dismissing baby, that avoidant baby, thinks, I'm good, but I don't trust you. The preoccupied baby thinks, I'm really bad and I need somebody else to help me, or I'm just not good, I don't trust myself, I need somebody else here to help me. And then the fearful baby has like a fear of self and of others. And the reason this is so important is because we can see this then play out in the long term. So babies who are secure as children, we often see them have secure adult relationships. This is not a guarantee at all. So there can be lots of things that happen between childhood and adulthood that shape attachment. And then people who are insecure often have more emotional and relationship difficulties. Again, this is not a guarantee. So you can see babies who are, insecure as babies, but then who develop a strong, secure attachment with an adult figure as an adult. So they make a good, strong relationship as an adult. But on average, we're able to see if you learned from your parents you need to be really strong, stoic, don't show a lot of emotion, then when you get in a relationship with an adult, it's really hard then to let yourself out and show all of your emotions and to be who you really are. It can be a real challenge. So then what a lot of parents then who first learn about attachment theory worry, if I've got this kid and they're supposed to be attached to me and then I put them in out-of-home care, like a daycare, are they going to just not be attached to me anymore? That is not at all the case. So most children, many children in the US today have multiple caregivers. We don't always just stay home with mom. And really what they've shown with that research is that attachment style is really unrelated to daycare. So children will form relationships with their daycare providers. They will still have a strong relationship with their parents or their primary caregivers. We're capable, thankfully, of forming more than one strong attachment relationship. And really what's important is the daycare quality. So is it a good daycare? Do they, really strive to do well by the kids and have caring, nurturing adults in that daycare? Then we're generally going to see some good results from that. So that finally ends up our unit. I know that's a really, really long unit. It's our longest one of the course, but it tells us a lot about infants, so how they develop physically, cognitively, and socially. So we will finish up here, and then we'll get to talk about a little bit older kids, and we'll follow the same pattern in our next unit where we'll talk about physical, cognitive, and social development. Thanks.